Hello YouTube and welcome to another edition of the Gravestone Pros here at North Country Memorials. We are so glad that you are here with us today. We are almost to 600 subscribers. If you are enjoying this channel and you have not subscribed, or if you've just found us and think you might enjoy us, please hit that subscribe button. It means a lot. We really appreciate it. Anyways, today is going to be a good day. Well, somewhat of a good day. Unfortunately, we're going to start out with a little bit of a bummer. Stone got totally ruined. It was at the end of its process. All it needed was to be cleaned, and it could have went out to the cemetery and it got busted. So I'll show you that in just a second. Come along. Hello YouTube. It's been a few days since I filmed that last bit, and Dad continued working on the stones, and he had something to show me when I got here today. We might not be able to set that stone quite like that. We're probably going to have to do a little redo. Big old chunk there, big old chunk there. So Dad got this stone moved outside here, sitting next to the display. Kind of a bummer that it got busted like that, but what are you going to do? These things happen. It's just part of life. No controlling it. Sometimes you can control it, I guess, but not always. So sort of is what it is. But we will move on. There was lots of other stones getting worked on, so I will cut to some of the stencil work and stuff that Dad was working on another stone. Dad is working on a stencil here, and I thought I'd just do a little bit of voiceover and just say what he's working on. First, he cut off the excess stencil. Now he is peeling the back and sticking it down to the corners. You have a nice straight edge on the bottom of that stone, so he uses that as his starting off place. Then he peels out the lines, and now he has to cut away the mylar so that he can pull those out, and then we can go ahead and steel. Some people call it flashing, we call it steeling, some people call it paneling. I do use that word from time to time, but anyways, the rubber has to come out of those areas because we do a double process. So you just cut around those lines and peel them out. Now he's putting some extra protection. This is an all polished stone, and we do not want any polish taken off the edges, so he's going to work on that. Now you get to see as he starts the actual process of doing the paneling or the flashing, and it's just taking the polish off. You do a kind of a very quick blast over it, and we're just getting rid of that polished area so that the background is white rather than being dark, and then we'll sink letters into it, which will make nice dark letters. But that's it for the prep on that stone. Soon he'll be ready to blast it. This here is a large job. I will try and film every stage of this job if I can. It's going to be kind of a unique stone. It's a tall, well, not super tall, but kind of a more narrow and tall spire with a nice big base that it sits on. It's going to be kind of at a cool angle, and the top is going to be real neat. And so this is just kind of a different piece. So I figured I'd try and get footage of us working on it all the way through, and a lot of times these specialty pieces come extra specially crated, and it is a bit of a pain to get off, but we always get there. So I left this piece wrapped up to protect it as we move it. Wanted to get it up onto the rollers here so that we can start working on it. Unfortunately, once I got it onto the rollers and I was ready to start working on it, I realized the customer had not signed the final paperwork on it yet, and so I was waiting for him for that. So it ended up sitting here for a little while, and a good reason though for not doing it. This is going to have some grandkids on the back, and he had one last grandkid on the way, and so they didn't want to sign paperwork until they knew the name of that last grandbaby, which did come, and so that was a worthwhile reason for waiting. I said, there's nothing wrong with that. So we got her unpolished, got her kind of dusted off. There's always a little bit of dust in there. I took measurements. It looked like it was kind of askew, but after measuring, I realized it's actually quite square and was in good shape, so I was quite happy about that. All right, working on this big slab here. Kind of an interesting piece. Special cut shape on the top. Definitely out of the norm. It's going to be kind of a single spire, and we're going to have his name and information on this side, her name and information on this side, and this will be the front of the stone, that front edge. And then the family name will go right across here. I'm gonna break in here. As I was editing, I realized I messed up with where the family name was going. The family name is actually going on a margin, polish margin on the base, and up on that part up there, we're gonna have kind of a wedding ring and cross design with their date of their wedding kind of underneath it. So that's what's going up on the top. So this is gonna be definitely kind of an interesting one. And then on the back of the stone, we have stuff, and it's also gonna have an etching down here that wraps around both faces of the stone. So it's going to be a real unique piece, but going to be exciting to work on. I cannot wait to see this all finished and done. It's going to be fantastic. So very excited for this one. To end this one out, we're going to do a little bit of peeling on this bad boy here. You probably can't see it in the video, but once I get her peeled, you'll be able to see her good. So enjoy. So this is the part of the process you missed on that other stone. Unfortunately, a lot of times as we're working on stuff, some stuff gets filmed and stuff does not. So the other one that Dad did the flashing on, the paneling on, that one did not get filmed then the rest of the time it was being worked on. I will show you a photo of it here though. It looked really nice, all finished and done. But this is the next step in the process. Once it's been paneled, you take it and you put the stencil back in. You have to glue it. You saw that on last week's video actually pretty clearly on that busted Schmidt stone. You glue it, and then you do this process here, which is called weeding. Now this one was particularly hard because it was very small letters, and along with the small letters, our cutter was in need of a new knife blade, and so we have a new knife blade put in there now, but when it's getting old, it has trouble cutting everything, and it kind of picks edges a little bit, and so I ended up having to do a lot of hand cutting in here. And you can see I kind of am going one way and then another way, and I'm doing quite a lot of cutting through. Where a lot of times if you're weeding, if it's the stencil's cut perfectly, you can just kind of get in there with the corner of your knife and pop the edge out, and then you can pull the entire line or the entire letter out all in one piece, where this took a lot more work, as you can see, a lot more time, but that's just part of how it goes. Some are better, some are worse. We did get a new knife blade put on that cutter now, and the problem with a new knife blade is it's so sharp that it cuts through the rubber, and then a lot of times it will cut through that the yellow part that you're seeing appear under there. That's the Mylar backing, and that's got a sticky side which sticks to the glue on the stone or the filler on the stone. So that part is a little bit annoying when you get a brand new blade on. It is hard to cut through the rubber without cutting through the Mylar, but after we use it for about, I don't know, 4 months here, we'll kind of hit a sweet spot where the knife is sharp enough that it easily is cutting the rubber, but gets just a tiny bit dull enough that it does not cut through the Mylar quite as easy. And then you hit a spot where peeling is glorious, or weeding as I should call it. I should stay consistent with my terms, but I rarely do, so I apologize about that. Anyways, we are so glad that you guys joined us today. Hope you enjoyed this video. I know I've gotten some criticism that we don't follow the whole thing all the way through to setting, and I'm going to try and work a little harder at showing you guys the final products on stuff and the end result, but it just doesn't always happen. So I am aware of it though, and I'm trying to work on that. That'll be my goal for this summer. So anyways, we'll see you next time.